Hey, what's up, people? Pizzal here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the new Severin Films Blu-ray release for 1993's Skinner. Now, this is partially going to be a review of the movie as well as a review of this Blu-ray release. And I can vividly remember renting Skinner with some buddies back in the day from the video store, expecting this film to be a sleazy, TNA-laden slasher movie. We popped the tape into the VCR, and very shortly thereafter we realized that's not exactly what Skinner is. And Skinner is a really interesting movie because of the movie, but also because of the people involved with Skinner. First off, you've got Ted Raimi in this film. Of course, Ted Raimi is the brother of Sam Raimi. And I won't go down the resume of Sam Raimi. You guys know who Sam Raimi is. Ted Raimi's appeared in quite a few of Sam Raimi's films. He often plays very quirky, eccentric, charactery parts in horror movies. But very interesting to see him in a lead role in Skinner. The film also stars Traci Lords, and I'm sure you guys all know of Traci Lords and of her past in the adult film industry when she was actually underage. The film also stars Ricki Lake. You guys remember Ricki Lake, right? In her very popular talk show from back in the day. She's in this film. She was an actress before she was a talk show host. And actually the movie has kind of a John Waters link to it with both Traci Lords and Ricki Lake. You know, I'm not sure if Divine was still alive when this movie was being made, but if Divine was, Divine would have fit in perfectly in this film. The movie's also directed by Yvonne Naj. And if that name sounds familiar, I'm sure you're probably saying to yourself, now, where have I heard that name? He was Heidi Fleiss's boyfriend during the whole Hollywood Madam scandal of the early 90s. So this movie has quite a pedigree, and we've not even actually started talking about the movie itself. Now, Skinner, the movie, is also very interesting because on the surface, with Skinner, you're expecting to get just a low-grade slasher movie. But there's a lot more going on in this film. First and foremost, the performance of Ted Raimi as Skinner is fantastic. Ted Raimi delivers a great performance in this film, and the movie overall is just a really interesting character study of a psychopath who likes to kill women, skin them, and wear their skin. And Raimi has some really good charactery moments in the film. For instance, there's a sequence in which he is stitching together a woman's flesh to create some clothing for himself. And he's talking about his childhood and his father, and he's talking about his mother while he's stitching together this woman's skin, and he's covered in blood. And it's a really great charactery moment that's also very depraved because he's covered in blood and stitching together a woman's skin while he's talking about his parents. The movie is also really interesting because of how it's executed. Yvonne Naj clearly wanted to make an artsy movie here. Every frame of this movie is kind of cockeyed or off-center in a way. He uses a lot of colors thrown into the film. Also, he clearly was trying to make a very artsy, yet kind of sleazy and depraved serial killer movie. So my hat is off to him for trying to do something different or trying to bring some level of creativity and uniqueness to what could have very easily just been a very flat, very by the book, serial killer slasher movie. Ted Raimi's character is also fascinated with water in this movie, and there are a lot of shots of flowing water throughout the film, and I think the water is supposed to represent Ted Raimi's character being sort of formless and shapeless. or maybe that's his psyche. I'm not sure. But again, you wouldn't go into a movie like Skinner expecting to think about those things afterward. Traci Lords plays one of Skinner's prior victims in the film, who is trying to track him down and get some vengeance. And her performance is just really, she seems like, well, she's like a morphine addict or something in the film. And Traci Lords plays high really, really well. And she's always like sort of talking under her breath to herself, like, I'm going to find you. You can't run forever. But she really gives a strong performance in this film, as does Ricki Lake. The performances all around are really good in this movie. But what you're watching this movie for is blood and guts and gore. And for the first time on this unrated cut of the film from Severin Films, you get to see that. There is a great skinning sequence in the film where Skinner pulls the flesh off of a victim, off of a victim's face, and it looks really good. The effects in the film were done by K&B, so there's not a whole lot of them in the film, but they look pretty good. The flesh suits actually look pretty good as well. There is one really, really, really offensive sequence in this film that could not be filmed today. A movie like Skinner could not be released today, even straight to video or straight to sci-fi with a sequence like that in it. It involves Skinner, who he's killed a coworker who is a person of color. He has skinned this person. He's now wearing this person's skin, and he's doing a very, very over-the-top impersonation of this person of color, and it would be considered highly, 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 highly offensive by today's standards. I really dig Skinner. I think Skinner is a unique entry in the serial killer slasher type subgenre with strong performances. And again, clearly this movie didn't have a lot of money behind it. There wasn't a whole lot of time to make this film, but it has such an atmosphere. There's a lot going on under the surface. And again, Yvonne Naj tried to make it, artsy. He tried to make a stylish looking film, and I think he succeeded. I definitely recommend Skinner. If you've not seen the movie, look into it, track it down, and check it out. This Blu-ray from Severin Films would be a great way to introduce yourself to the film. If you are a fan of Skinner, you definitely want to look in to picking up this Blu-ray from Severin Films and adding it to your collection. This Blu-ray features the uncut, unrated version of the film, never before seen. All of the VHS releases of the film were cut. I'm not even sure if this got an official DVD release in the States. I don't think so. I may be wrong. But this release also sports I believe it's a 4K. Yes, it is a 4K transfer of the original camera elements, which the picture quality and the sound quality on this release were fantastic. I'd give them both a solid 4 out of 5. The presentation for this release is also very nice. I dig that artwork there. Like with a lot of Severin Films' releases, I love these black Blu-ray cases. They just look really cool, in my opinion. As far as extras are concerned, first up, we get director Yvonne Naj, A Touch of Scandal. It's 20 minutes and 3 seconds in length. It's an interview with Mr. Naj from 2007. Mr. Naj passed away, I think, in either 2013 or 2015, I believe. Mr. Naj discusses how he wanted to be a director since he was a kid. He discusses escaping Hungary during the revolution and coming to the U.S. At the age of 18 as a refugee, going to film school. He actually went to film school with Francis Ford Coppola and starred in one of Francis Ford Coppola's student films. He discusses getting into photography for album covers and actually winning a Grammy for a B.B. King album cover that he shot. Very interesting. He discusses directing his first film, Pushing Up Daisies, and how that led to directing TV series such as Chips and then movies of the week. He discusses dating Heidi Fleiss and how that served as a roadblock in his career. I can't imagine why. He also discusses the Heidi Fleiss documentary that Nick Broomfield directed. He discusses Skinner as being a return to his cinematic roots and how much he loves low-budget filmmaking because of the freedom it gives you as a filmmaker. Very, very nice, very interesting interview with Mr. Naj. He was clearly quite a character. I also neglected to mention that the Traci Lords character in the film, her name is Heidi. So there's speculation that the movie is really about Yvonne Naj's relationship with Heidi Fleiss, whereas Naj was the Skinner character in the film, and and the Heidi character was supposed to be Heidi Fleiss, of course, which adds a completely other, really just crazy level to Skinner. Next up, we have star Ted Raimi, Under His Skin. It's 14 minutes and 24 seconds in length. Mr. Raimi discusses acting in industrial films, Shocker, and Lunatics before being cast in Skinner. He discusses his love of offbeat characters and auditioning for the role in Skinner, as well as doing research of killers such as John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer to better understand the character. He discusses working with Yvonne Naj, the fast pace with which they shot the film, the budget crunch, etc. He discusses the effects in the film from K&B. He discusses working with Traci Lords and praises her professionalism and more. Very nice interview with Mr. Raimi. Next up, we have screenwriter Paul Hart Wilden, Bargain Bin VHS. It's 17 minutes and 9 seconds in length. Mr. Hart Wilden discusses his fascination with serial killers such as Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, and particularly Ed Gein, who served as his inspiration to write Skinner. He discusses Skinner's fascination with water in the film. He discusses trying to get the film produced by Hammer Films, who rejected it. And after exhausting every resource in the UK to get Skinner made, he went to the US and immediately found a producer who said yes. He discusses only seeing the film once during a screening of the rough cut and being mortified. He discusses how the film was considered a ripoff of Silence of the Lambs back in the day. He discusses how the film fell off the radar but eventually found an audience. He discusses the quest he embarked upon to find the negative for Skinner so that it could eventually enjoy the release it's gotten today from Severin Films. Very nice interview. Next up, we have editor Jeremy Kasten, Cutting Skinner. It's 10 minutes and 41 seconds in length. Excuse me. Mr. Kasten discusses his background editing low-budget features. He discusses the Heidi Fleiss scandal and the movie's ties to John Waters, with both Traci Lords and Ricki Lake being cast in the film, and how it compelled him. The scandal and the link to John Waters compelled him to want to work on Skinner. He discusses having to track down the different elements of the film in order to edit it all together. He also discusses a meeting he had with Yvonne Naj, which included a bag full of payoff cash and a lot of pot. Very interesting. A very nice interview with Mr. Kasten. We get 11 minutes and 39 seconds of deleted and extended scenes and a trailer for Skinner. This is a very nice Blu-ray release for Skinner from the fine folks over at Severin Films. I love Severin Films for taking an obscure movie like Skinner and just rolling out the red carpet for it, as they've done here with this Blu-ray release. The picture quality and the sound quality are both fantastic, and we get some really nice extras on this release as well. If you've not seen Skinner, again, I recommend it. Go check it out. This Blu-ray would be a great way to introduce yourself to the film. If you are a fan of Skinner, you definitely want to look into picking up this Blu-ray from Severin Films and adding it to your collection. I'll put a link to Severin Films' website down in the description. Go over and check them out. If you've seen Skinner, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comment section below. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. They're also right around here. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. Join the A Buck a Month Club and help support my channel on Patreon. Thank you to my current patrons, Kevin Smythe, Orc145626, B-Movie Mike, Robert Sobel, Turi Delamore, Stephen Flanagan, Lori Holt, Mitch Odell, Farron Sutton, Craig Farrand, Jeremiah Lambert, Grindhouse Grotto, Joseph Charlesworth, Chris Earls, Derek Jana, Demon Waffles, Tim Williams, Stone Gassman, Zachary Barton, Mr. Bibby86, James Welch, Eli Geisler, Jeff Overing, Cliff Hostetter, Kyle McGuire, Jay the Stingray, Lauren Dixon, Travis Davis, Dave Barnes, Jonathan Lundy, Chris Parsons, Chris Gonzalez, Trenton Bowser, Alan Scott, and Vic Corbin. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.